Hey, Curtis,
Hey, Oz.
what do we have in the second week of Mad Max May?
This week we have Death Race 2000 meets
Okay.
Lawrence of Arabia meets Where the Wild Things Are. This week's movie, Mad Max 2, The Road Warrior. You like that?
And I do like that movie Marriage. I see where all connections were. There's only one little reason why you have Where the Wild Things Are, and
Yep, one small feral reason.
Right. Well, and coincidentally enough, the kid's name in Where the Wild Things is Max. So maybe that was a prequel.
It was. It's in canon.
Yeah, it has to be. It has to be. Because he was an angry kid. He was mad.
Yeah, he was. He was very mad.
Yeah. You know what? I think we just uncovered it, folks. George Miller's Mad Max movie universe is what inspired, I think it was like Maurice Sendak's Where the Wild Things Are.
Maurice Sendak's Mad Max and George Miller's Where the Wild Things Are.
It's probably George Miller's pen name.
I bet you it is.
Maurice Sendak. I remember the part in Where the Wild Things Are where they go for the gasoline.
And I think Lord Humungus showed up there too at one point.
He did. Oh, welcome back, listeners and viewers, to another week of Let's Talk About Flicks, the podcast where we bring a monthly theme and alternate each week bringing movies to satisfy that theme. I am one of your hosts, Oz.
And I am Curtis.
And we are now about knee-deep in Mad Max May. Last week we covered George Miller's Mad Max, and this week we are covering Mad Max 2, The Road Warrior. Mad Max 2 everywhere else in the world, but if you're in the United States, we got The Road Warrior as...
Because we gotta do things differently here.
Well, Mel Gibson wasn't a star yet, and Mad Max was limited release in the States, so Mad Max 2 wouldn't have made any sense. So I suppose I could understand that they went, with that reasoning.
I mean, they could have called it. They could have called it Mad Max 2, like TOO, like he's also
right.
there.
He's also here. The Road Warrior and Mad Max 2 reminds me of the unfortunate Bill Cosby. Not he's unfortunate, but we're unfortunate to have Mr. Cosby in our in our reality. But before all of these allegations and what was proven true, of course, there was a terrible 80s movie called Leonard Part 6.
Oh, yeah.
But there was no Leonard 1 through 5. That was just their attempt at humor of let's just launch Leonard Part 6. I remember enjoying it as a kid because it was so stupid. But it is beyond dumb. Like at one point he's fighting somebody with lobsters, and somebody's got butter for. Oh, you're better off. It's bad. So, but here we are. We're in a much better place with the Apocalyptic Road Warrior, which, like we were talking pre-show, is just a much more polished film than Mad Max.
Yes.
Obviously, same universe. I would have. Had I flipped the movie Marriage this week, I probably would have added like Conan the Barbarian to it.
Sure.
Just because you've got, with the movie being introduced and surmised by someone else telling the tale of, that's really what it made me think of is the opening and ending sequences of Conan the Barbarian where somebody is telling the story of Conan. And this is, this comes from... this comes from the feral kids retelling. I'm glad he learned how to speak. I was proud of that.
The Marauders. You know what god they probably worshipped if they're in the same universe as Conan? Crumb.
Oh, I love Crom. I you know what? I do enjoy Conan the Barbarian.
It's a fun movie.
It's a very fun movie.
It's not good, but it's fun.
No, but it's fun. But it also reminded me the opening and closing summation of the telling of the tale also reminded me of the movie within a TV show, Threat Level Midnight, Where Michael Scott's intro and concluding his own story.
It's like Golden Face, wasn't that the bad guy?
Golden Face. Oh, like it's almost worth showing that like to my filmmaking class and being like, guys, we can make a movie like this.
If Michael Scott can make a movie,
if Michael Scarn can be the star of a movie, we could do it. Yeah, so Road Warrior, Mad Max 2, however, whether you're in the Imperial or metric system, whatever, it's still the same movie. I got some characters. I'm gonna
let's hear about them characters.
So I stopped with 6. There were many more than 6. I don't know how many of them were necessarily essential roles, but of course we start with the titular Mad Max, played by Mel Gibson.
Max Rockatansky.
Max Rockatansky. This is in the future of last week's future. We're already in the apocalypse, and this is further into said apocalypse. But it doesn't say how much further, which I did enjoy. Max, Mel Gibson not being much older, but things degraded in a hurry. So we've got Max. We also have the Gyrocopter, as he's credited. I skipped names of actors just because I was throwing this together on my phone as I was watching the movie. So we got the Gyrocopter, who's Max, who's the Robin to Max's Batman.
Yeah, Max's wannabe partner.
Yeah, he wants to be partners with not only Max, but a different kind of partner with Baby Spice.
With the side ponytail.
Yeah, exactly. I also, back to the movie marriage, I wouldn't have been opposed if you would have thrown in, like Star Wars or Empire Strikes Back, because Max really gave off a Han Solo vibe.
Yeah, like a darker Han Solo.
Yeah. And so there's a good streak in him, but ultimately he's looking out for himself.
Yeah.
So Max, we got Gyrocopter. Those are the good guys. Well, couple more good guys. We got Papagallo. Who is the leader of the Guzzlane group? I don't know what they were.
Guzzlane.
They're the good guys. Yeah, he's the leader of the good guys. So we should say, and I'm sure you'll get into it more with the plot. And I also threw in Feral Kid. Who
why not?
Doesn't have a name. Grunt is more. He's just the Feral Kid. He's the Newt of the movie. If for those in the Alien universe, but there's Feral Kid, and those are the side of the good guys. The bad guys, there's a lot more of them. I stuck with 2. We start with Lord Humungus, the Ayatollah of rock and roll.
Lord Humungus is benevolent.
And tapping into last week, just the naming of things like...
Yeah. Oh, I love it.
Oh, I just love it. Not only just Lord Humungus, but because that's exactly what he is, but just his vocal mannerisms and I love it. I just love
scholarly bad guy who wears a hockey mask in the middle of the post-apocalyptic desert with no shirt and studded leather shorts.
Yeah, that's about all he has on is a hockey mask.
Yeah.
And it's a tight one, a very tight hockey mask. The Lord Humungus, you just sense like pre-apocalypse, he was probably like the largest member of Shakespeare in the Park. And this is really his time to shine.
Oh yeah, he's in full character.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah, I think the apocalypse hit in the middle of a production and he just never broke. Exactly. He's just stayed in character. That's it. That's his means of coping, is that he's just taken on a different persona.
It's off Broadway in rural Australia. And then the last character I've got is Wes, played by former Toronto Blue Jay Vernon Wells. If Wes, he's Lord Humungus's like lead war dog, and he does call him War Dog at one point, and I think it's fitting. It's a fitting name because anytime you let him off the leash, he's just
quite literally let him off the leash.
Yeah, he's just chaotic. But Wes is Vernon Wells playing Wes is the apocalyptic version of Vernon Wells playing Bennett in the movie Commando. If there's an over the top, he'll say, "Hold my beer."
Yeah. Oh yeah.
and then exceed. But it fits because this is a crazy time in the world. And
What's
and
the line
Wes
in
is-
Commando? Like, Bennett let off some steam.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Right on Chung. What happened to
Yeah.
Bennett? He let off some steam. Crum.
Grum.
But yeah. Oh, I love Commando. It's. I won't say nowhere near is it one of the best Schwarzenegger films, but it's
But
definitely one of my favorite Schwarzenegger films.
Yeah.
Just watching him carry a tree trunk on his arm, like he's every American gladiator melted into one person.
I love how in Commando, it's one of those movies where like it's one man against an army, and
yeah.
as he mows down people with a machine gun, they all do the chicken dance before they fall over dead.
Yeah. Just flaying. Like he'll catch him. Like he'll catch him in the calf with a bullet and flailing their arms.
Yeah.
It's like
It's
they got the hokey pokey playing on set, so they all know how to choreograph.
Make sure you put your right leg in before you fall over dead.
Right. Yeah, I do love Commando though, and I've noticed that the Bronco of Commando is like making a comeback in movies. I just watched Channing Tatum's Dog earlier this week.
Oh, yeah?
And in that movie, he's driving that like light blue and white Ford Bronco. I watched another movie not too long ago where they're also like they were driving the Bronco, and I read in the trivia that it's like in both instances like it tied into like Schwarzenegger's Bronco in Commando, and I'm like, oh, I love it. And I just hope it's a movie they never decide to remake, because the only person that you would think could touch it would probably be like Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah.
But he doesn't. I think he's a fine actor and all, but he's not Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
And so I hope they leave Commando alone. I really do. But those are the 6 characters I got for the Road Warrior.
Yeah, that's really all you need.
Yeah, no, I mean there's others. There's the Tanya Roberts knockoff. Girl with the bow and arrow, and then like I mentioned earlier, there's Baby Spice. There's the Baby Spice Olivia Newton-John character. There's Dog. There's Dog. There's another guy on Lord Humungus' side. His name's Toady. Like there's there's other players at stake, but they're part of the cast. They're not necessarily name worthy. But I would say the 6 that I named were the 6. Obviously, I wanted to. Is there anybody you wanted to add?
Nope. I think that's perfectly fine.
Nope.
I would argue Max is really the only one you need to mention by name. But
Probably. Well, it's because he's about the only one that got a name. Before we do get to the plot, I do want to throw out a shout out to Melissa L. and Don S., our Patreon subscribers. If you do enjoy our show and want to support it, you could hop onto patreon.com and look for Let's Talk About Flicks. You can also find a link down below. And any support you have is great, but we're going to do it whether you support us or not. So anything is gravy. It's gravy on the cake, as they say.
that's what it's like was it ice cream au jus?
Yeah.
It's like cake au jus. Just get a nice slice of marble cake, and you just dip it in some beef sauce.
It's like somebody who wants to know a little bit of French, and they really want their cake a la mode, but they don't know the difference, so they order au jus.
Au jus.
You just get this cake with meat sauce.
Can you warm it up just a little bit for me too?
Right. Happen to have Amelia Bedelia's in the kitchen, so she takes you literally. So, but
right.
that's what I got. What do we have?
Let's get to the plot
for the Road Warrior.
The Road Warrior. We got a little prologue. Giving a little more background on what's going on. One of the things I loved about Mad Max last week was that you're kind of like right on the forefront of the apocalypse, and in this, I think your recent post-apocalypse is kind of where we're at here.
Right,
and they do give a little taste of what's going on in the world. Two warring tribes. You can take some guesses as to who they are. It's all over fuel and oil. Again, this movie was made in 1981. right at, as things were really ramping up amongst United States and the Soviet Union and the Middle East. And yeah, you can kind of go from there. The world was powered by the black fuel. We get a voiceover.
Texas tea.
It's out shooting at some food.
Jed Clampett's given the prologue.
Max has got grandma strapped to the top of the Pursuit Special.
That's how Lord Humungus hauls Wes around.
Puts him in a rocker, straps him to the top. I think she was on top of the tanker at the end too.
She may have been. Yeah, deleted scene, I think.
Hey, Granny, how you doing up there?
She's got her shotgun. It's all good.
Oh yeah, that's where we got the shells.
Yeah.
we get some voiceover narration again. I remember the time of chaos, the man we called Max, the road warrior. And there's again a reference to this collapse of society. We get a little sprinkle of some footage from the first movie.
Yeah.
We see Jesse, his Sheila,
we see Sheila get run down.
Sheila, aka Jesse, and the unnamed baby Sprague, a man haunted by the demons of his past. We then transition right into the engine of the Pursuit Special at top speed. Great transition from the prologue. Oh, George Miller knows how to make this kind of movie.
Absolutely.
You're there to see these vehicles, and even if you're me, you're not a car guy, you still feel this is powerful to watch. This.
Exactly. Yeah, and because it doesn't date itself, because none of the vehicles in this movie you're gonna find anywhere. So it really adds to the fantasy of it, to where it's combining that American muscle car passion with just fantasy. Mm-hmm. And, so where you don't feel like I need to go turn some wrenches now. You may not like cars, but you're all for a car chase. There's plenty of these.
So Max is being chased by a couple of cars and a motorcycle. We get introduced to Wes. I think he's on a motorcycle there with his, I don't know if it's his, I've read different things. On the back of his motorcycle is either his son or his lover.
It's a surrogate son. I did read that in the comments that George Miller had mentioned. Yeah, was it George Miller or was it Vernon Wells? Either one of them, someone in an interview somewhere in the mid-'80s had mentioned that in the story that Vernon Wells or Wes found him and saved him and kind of raised him as a surrogate son that wears buttless chaps. So
just like Daddy wears.
Take it as you will. But I did read that also, and you probably did too, that George Miller gave his actors the freedom to basically come up with a backstory. What's your motivation? There's that that age-old joke of an actor, give me a moment to find my motivation. Well, it's Miller's whatever, here's your character,
whatever backstory you want to make up helps you tell the character.
Yeah, exactly.
Go for it.
Whatever. And you gotta love that. Just kind of create a freedom of I'm gonna make the movie I want to make. So if you need to tell yourself that he's not your gay lover, he's your surrogate son, whatever.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter because the public is gonna make their own opinions anyway.
He's your Channing Tatum from This Is the End.
Exactly. That's pretty much what it was. Yeah.
We've already speculated on what Lord Humungus's past life was. That he was he was an off Broadway actor. What about Wes? What do you think Wes was pre-apocalypse?
I probably a union garbage man or something.
Yeah.
Somebody that's just got a lot of hostility, but not any outlet for it.
Yeah.
And so that was his chance to no holds barred. Either that or a gym teacher. No, I'm kidding.
No, you're not.
That's where everybody got their sports equipment for this cast.
They all just went and raided the local high school.
Right. Wes is come on down, guys. I've got shoulder pads and hockey helmets and fencing gear. You need it, we've got it.
It's all right here in the 8th grade locker room.
Right. That's why everything fits so tight.
So Max outsmarts these guys. Wes takes an arrow, I think, through the leg
it was in the arm.
It was in the arm. That's right. Yeah.
Because he just unflingingly pulls it out.
Yeah,
like,
he just stares him down. One of the cars flips. Max gets out and immediately just start literally mopping up the fuel for his own vehicle. Like he's got like rags. He's soaking it up off the asphalt. As Wes is just staring him down from like a quarter mile away.
Right. One thing I love about these movies too is, you know, these high-speed highway car chase pursuits, you know, when they give, you know, at some point the camera will pan back and you see that everything is flat. Like, flat. But yet there always seems to be ramps for these cars to go up and do multiple flips and twists and turns. It's almost comical because it's like you guys are driving, you know, 100 mile an hour straight down the highway, and then you bump a car and suddenly it's turned into Carrie Strug.
Carrie Strug. Doing a
or Dominique Mucciano, whoever.
Double back gainer.
Simone Biles. I don't care who, but yeah, they've got... It's just, you know, be careful driving in Australia, folks, because those ramps they're sneaky.
they catch up on you. Oh, I love another just little dumb thing. Like, you know, as after Wes pulls the arrow out of his arm, he's staring Max down as Max is sopping up fuel. You know, Wes does a wheelie as he peels out. Like, again, I am the furthest thing from like a car guy or like a motorcycle guy there is.
Same
it's
here.
like in this kind of movie, like that's cool. Like,
it is, and it's not even envious. Like, I don't want to know how to do it, but it's like it just taps in for such a primal, like, I don't know. It's just it just
that's a
hits
good
that
word
button.
for it. It's primal, yeah.
It's, you know, because it's like we're in a primal, like, apocalyptic era where everybody is just instinct and reaction. Like,
fight or flight, yeah.
And for us viewers, it's the same thing. Like, had he just driven off, I still would have thought, wow, but yeah, it's just just drive off with a wheelie. You're like, wow, like George Miller just gets it.
He really stuck it to Max with that wheelie.
Yeah, Max felt that.
I feel the need to be like high fiving people like as I'm watching this movie. Like, yeah, check out that wheelie.
I started the movie with sleeves on my T-shirt, and by the end, I'd ripped them off.
Just tore them off.
Right.
As the scene concludes, there's a big semi there, which you know, keeping your brain there, folks.
Yeah. Right.
Max sees what's in the semi. A dead body falls out, but he takes
the eyes bugged out of that body too.
Did they?
Large Marge was driving that semi. Yep.
Was it Large Marge, or
yeah.
was it her? Or was it her ghost?
It may have been Toe Cutter. I don't know.
Nope.
But no, when it fell out of the truck and hit the ground, just for a frame or two, it flashed to it, and the eyes are all bugged out of its head. And I was like, I love you, George Miller.
Yeah, just over the top for over the top's sake.
Oh yeah.
Max finds a little music box that plays. I think "Happy Birthday" is what it plays.
It's "Happy Birthday," yeah.
Yeah, just a little music box. We cut to the next scene. Max is on a dirt road, comes across an abandoned one-man gyrocopter. Because we're in the middle of the outback in the midst of the apocalypse, and there's a gyrocopter sitting there. Max approaches
with a snake.
Yeah, with a venomous snake on it.
Yeah, and protecting it. Yeah.
Max snatches it with his bare hand. He grabs this snake. Again, it's just this kind of like man's man kind of movie that he just grabs this venomous snake because everything in Australia is bred to kill you.
Everything.
Like everything.
Including Max Rockatansky.
Yes. Everything that breathes in Australia will kill you, including this venomous snake.
Right.
And Max
Andrew Bogut.
Yeah, he will. Steven Adams, although I think he's from New Zealand.
But yeah. Andrew Bogut, unknown to most people, was the most feared man in the NBA.
Oh, yeah. Andrew Bogut.
For a long, long time, his entire career.
Was not expecting an Andrew Bogut reference today. Or here's a more recent Liam Hendricks, closer for the White Sox. Yeah. There you go. If we want a contemporary Australian. The gyrocopter captain pops out of the ground. He's like buried himself next to his gyrocopter just so he could spring a trap, and he pops up and holds a crossbow on Max.
He's got a very long face, this gyro captain.
I wonder how long it took him to bury himself.
I want to know how long he's been under there.
He probably had one of those little plastic like kid shovels that he just used, and just kept scooping.
Right. Max was ready for him though.
Yeah, he was. Max's dog attacks the gyrocopter.
Right.
Because dog is very smart and is on the same page as Max. So Max has this loyal companion to go. The pilot tells him about a refinery community that's nearby. They got all the fuel you need. So
all the gasoline.
All the gasoline. And so, so they're on their way to this refinery, right, Oz?
They are, yeah. Max chains him up, takes him with. It's not necessarily as you're a hostage, but more you just pulled a crossbow or gun or something on him.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't trust you. And which, fittingly, Max doesn't trust anybody, which is, it's the apocalypse. You know, why would you? But yeah, so they're, use the, up on a cliff, he chains him to, basically chains him to some driftwood.
Yeah.
Somehow has made it on top of this cliff.
It made it here to the outback.
No water anywhere, but we got a driftwood log I'm going to chain you to.
I think he had a conch shell he was blowing into also.
Right? And so, Max, he's sitting up on top. They're up here, and he and Dog and Max, and he just gets out his binoculars. He's just checking it out. But as he's looking down on this refinery, Lord Humungus and his crew they're on, I wouldn't even call it they're attacking. They're just there.
Circling.
Applying the pressure and, because they've got gasoline and these cars need it. And so that's really at the backbone of this story. That's what it's about. Like I told you earlier, my son and I went out for breakfast this morning, and he asked me at breakfast, he's 7, by the way, listeners. He asked me, what's the movie you guys are talking about? I go, it's called The Road Warrior. And he goes, what's it about? I go, a guy needs gas for his car. That's all I told him.
That's really, you're not wrong. He's making a gas run. Hey, I'm heading to the marathon. I'll pick you up a king-size Butterfinger.
Yeah, I go, a guy needs gas for his car. And he goes, well, why are you talking about that? I go, well, it takes place in the future. I go, the good guys have the gas, the bad guys want the gas, and this guy helps the good guys get away from the bad guys. And he goes, well, I probably can't watch it because it's probably a lot of violence. I go, yeah, you're right. There it is. So,
you can.
Yeah, and so that was the end of that. But it was just, what's the movie about? I guess that's probably how we should pursue it. Is how would I explain to a 7-year-old what this movie's about? Guy needs some gas.
He's running low. He's on E.
And he was like, okay,
that makes sense. He needs gas.
I'm gonna go back to my eggs. So they just kind of camp out. So that was the end of where I was going.
Checking things out. Max takes out a can of dog food that he shares with the dog. The pilot looks really interested in the dog food.
Right.
And Oz, you'll catch on to what other reference popped in my head as I was watching this. It had to do with the old Chappelle show. You know what dog food tastes like? Tastes as good as it smells. Delicious.
Tyrone Biggums. I love Tyrone Biggums.
He would have fit in there as well.
I would have loved that if he was the Gyrocopter.
I would have loved if he was the hype man. He was like the toady character.
Exactly. Ayatollah of rock and roller.
So the next morning, again, Max is just kind of scoping things out, and several cars leave the refinery, and they are immediately run down by the gang.
Yeah.
It's not even close.
Yeah, because the gang they'd left. Yeah. They gave the refinery. Yeah, they gave the good guys the impression that it's safe to go, and like you said, they were just they were hiding out. They were hiding behind the cliff, and as soon as they got into view, it was game over. Not even close.
So one of these cars that tries to get away gets kind of close to Max and them, and the Gyrocopter. So Max has a set of binoculars. The Gyrocopter takes out an old like a pirate telescope, like a collapsible telescope.
Exactly.
It's just a fun little sequence. Yeah, just a fun little like it was one of those it means nothing to the film, but it kind of added a couple chuckles into a movie like this. Max sees that he's got this huge telescope. He's like, "Trade me." So he takes the telescope and gives the captain the binoculars.
And there was no fight. It was funny because Gyrocopter just reaches into his coat, and it just keeps telescoping out longer and longer and longer. And Max catches a glimpse of it and snatches it.
So Max descends on a couple of these guys that have chased down this vehicle from the refinery, and was it the pilot watches one of the gang members put an arrow in there was the female passenger who was there. Max goes up, kills one of the bad guys who's still there, and the driver of the vehicle, his significant other's dead, and this guy's barely clinging to life, and he's like, "Bring me back to town and I'll get you fuel."
Yeah. They make a deal.
Yep. They make a deal.
And that's where Max jumps in. He takes the guy and, takes him back to the refinery. They let him in, and but then he passes, and it's a sad moment.
Yep. So the guy dies within moments of getting back. Like, well, I guess your contract's up.
Right.
We get introduced to the warrior woman. Like she has no name.
No,
I will say for being in the middle of like the outback of the apocalypse, she's pretty good looking, Oz. I will say that
she did look good.
Yeah,
she really did. I'll give her that. That her hair was perfectly 80s windblown. And she did. She was in good shape. She kind of made a couple eyes at Max, but he wasn't going for it.
No, nope, not at all.
Which I'm glad, because I think that would have taken away from the
film,
giving him a romance.
No.
He's here for the gasoline.
Yeah, Max is a loner. He ain't got no time for romance.
Yes, I'm a loner, Dottie, a rebel.
So the Pee-wee's bike is like Max's pursuit special.
Right.
So the villagers are about to accost Max because, like, what are you doing here? Like, you can't just come in. And then the marauders attack Max, or they attack the village again. So they handcuff Max to like a pole, and the villagers have quite a setup here. They got like bows and arrows. They're well encamped. They've got
flamethrowers and.
So they got this refinery going. So they're pumping up fuel from the ground, and some of it they weaponize just to keep these guys at bay. Humungus's hype man announces him. So Humungus has his own like Flava Flav.
Oh yeah. For sure. It's just comical, because it's like everybody gets a fresh start in a primal sense. It's like we're going to start history over, but we're developed now. And so it's still good versus evil. I want what I want. I'm going to take what I want. Defend, and the others are going to defend what they have. It's just still very, very, Neanderthal-like. But we're advanced to where there's clothing and there's language and and so it's you could tell like Humungus just rises to the top, and like you said, he just I need a hype man. Somebody's got to feed my ego. Like, come on.
I love how they have a PA.
Yeah. Oh, I did too. Not that too. He like, because he's in this. It looks like it's just been made. Like it wasn't any sort. It wasn't like there. I mean, there are police cars. You see some flying around with their lights flashed or whatever. But whatever Humungus is driving is not anything that any car manufacturer would have ever made. But yet he's got a speaker system.
Yep,
they got a CB radio.
They got a PA in there. They probably got a 6-disc CD changer too.
Yeah, I'm sure they do.
A Philips 6-disc changer. So Humungus's hype man announces him, the warrior of the wasteland, the Ayatollah of rock and roller, the Lord Humungus. Humungus then gets on the PA, and he's very educated. Very well spoken, very erudite, which I think makes him even more menacing. It's not just
I agree.
Some guy like yelling curse words every other minute. Yeah. Like
he's not Wes.
No.
He's
Wes
not
just some crazy guy.
Yeah.
Like he engages in psychological warfare just as much as like physical warfare.
Right.
We also get introduced to the feral child. He pops up. He's got like tunnels that go in and out of the village to the outside, and he has a boomerang. How old would you say the feral child is, Oz? Maybe 5?
I'd put him at 5 or 6 years old. Yeah. For if you haven't seen this movie, but you've seen Pixar's The Good Dinosaur, like that's to me what he reminds me of. Not Arlo the dinosaur, but the like caveman child of that movie. And so yeah, I'd put him at 5 or 6.
when my kid was younger, like 2 or 3 years old, she used to make sounds like the feral child, so we would just refer to her as the feral child.
The feral, fitting. Yeah. I think feral child goes to the same hairdresser as warrior woman too.
Yes, I think they sit under like the half circle like thing. I have no idea what that's called, but like the big hair blower thingy.
Yeah.
Just sit under there for hours. So the feral child emerges with this boomerang, and he chucks it, and it hits and immediately kills Wes's like child, his whatever that is.
Golden boy is what he's referred to.
Golden boy, yeah.
Golden boy.
Mm-hmm. So Wes loses it, as you would if it's your surrogate son who just took a belated boomerang to the skull. Yeah, you're gonna be upset. I don't blame Wes for being mad, but he goes nuts. We go in, we kill, no more talk. Loses weight. And Humungus like chokes him out. Like Wes is nuts, but it also shows the raw physical power of Humungus, who's built like a tank, by the way.
Oh yeah, I mean he's just a massive, massive man.
Yeah, he's like an American Gladiator.
Yeah,
I think it's Nitro under there.
It's that, or, I don't know, Brutus the Barber Beefcake or something.
Turbo.
He's the booty man.
Booty man. God.
He's just ripped, like, and I like how, Miller makes the character choice of, this guy is a physical specimen, and so let's put him in as little clothing as possible. Let's just showcase these mountains of muscle.
Yeah.
It's really gross too when he's like physically restraining Wes, and it's like, and they kept showing the overhead shot, and it's like his head's pulsing, like, it's just, he's
been through some physical trauma. Like, he wears this mask, you wonder what he's hiding, because you see the back of his head.
And he's bald, but he's not like shaved bald, because he's still got like wisps of hair and strands of hair all over. It's just, he's probably had a vat of acid or something dropped on him. I don't know. It could be Jason Voorhees for all we know.
He fell into the vat with the Joker.
Mad Max 2, Jason takes Sydney.
So Humungus basically gives them one more day. You got one more day. I will spare your lives. There will be an end to the horror. We're coming back in a day.
I know. It's like, I think if he wasn't a Shakespeare in the Park guy, that he probably wrote taglines for film. that's kind of right. And, an end to the horror. It's like, those are just kind of the cheesy, like, really thought out lines.
Yeah.
But yeah, Humungus is awesome.
Three brothers,
awesome villain.
3 brothers in Montana pine for the love of one woman.
Thanks, Jimmy Humungus. His name was really like James Large, and that just wasn't a big enough name for him.
Large.
I am Humungus.
Oh, you're large. Shut up, Jim. Go get some coffee.
So he just, he starts working out, and the apocalypse, his time has come.
Yeah.
Now, Lord Humungus.
Now who gets the coffee? Not Jimmy Large.
No. It's Lord Humungus to you. Toady used to be his boss. That's probably how
that's probably it.
I shall spare your life.
Oh, I think. Oh yeah, that's right. We had the little scene before we move on here of. Let's see. Wes throws the boomerang back at the feral child, who ducks it, and the toady guy tries to catch it.
Oh, I got it.
And loses all of his fingers.
And everybody just laughs at him.
Yeah. Nobody goes to help him.
No. And he eventually starts laughing as well. Like, it hurts, but he's like, oh, I can't show my pain. Yeah, that is.
Does anyone have any Bactine?
Good one, guys. Good one.
It really showed me. So back in the camp, Max and the feral child have a little moment. Max gives the feral child the music box, and the boy is ecstatic. He does a backflip. He's so happy.
I think he gave it to him to shut him up because he's playing it, and the kid's just going. He's making the noises he's making the noises that Forrest Gump makes to the teacher who just like shagged his mom.
That's right. That's right. We meet Papagallo or Papagayo or whatever.
Yeah,
the leader of the camp, called Papa G.
Yeah,
and he wants to protect the fuel, and Max is like, I saw a tanker.
Yeah,
so
I know who could pull that. I know who could pull that tanker.
So yeah, he mentions he saw the rig, and so the wheels start turning here.
It's a rig.
Rig. On that rig.
Two E's. Rig.
Sheila pointed it out.
Sheila.
So the plan is hatched. Max and Dog sneak out under the cover of the night. He's got several containers of fuel for the rig.
Rig.
Yep. The feral child makes some animal noises to like draw the guards off.
Right. Yeah, because I think he's like part mole, like the feral child. He's got this like intricate underground network of tunnels.
He does, yeah. He's like a prairie dog.
Yeah, I think that's a better indicator than mole. But yeah, it's a prairie dog.
So it's morning. Max comes across the gyrocopter. Hey, they just run into each other again. Yeah. He's still handcuffed to the driftwood.
That's probably why he didn't have time to get away, as he's lugging a log behind him.
So we cut to so the pilot is now Max has the pilot carrying the fuel, of course. So they get the rig started up, or sorry, the rig. They get the rig started up.
Rig.
And the pilot's like, "We're partners," as Max drives away from him and just leaves him again.
I know. It's like, this guy just wants a friend so bad.
Yeah. You wonder what he did pre-apocalypse. I bet he was like a car salesman or something like that.
Airplane mechanic.
Probably.
Nothing has changed for this guy. He just flew a gyrocopter.
He was a gyrocopter pilot. He just stopped brushing his teeth. That's really the only difference now.
That's the only change. He slept in the dirt. Nothing has changed.
Ran out of crest tartar control.
Right. He doubled as a snake charmer.
So the marauders, they can't not see this giant rig driving through the desert, so they chase him back. Humungus has a gun, one of the few guns that are still out there working,
and it's like a Dirty Harry, like
a big old pistol, like a big old like Magnum,
45, like it's a Magnum, it's a big gun.
So he plugs a bullet into the engine. So Max is able to get back inside, but it's not easy getting back in there. Another one of the dumb movies. This is like another like Papa Wheelie kind of moment.
Yeah. As
Max is driving through like their camp and like taking out some of their cars. I don't know if it's the rig or one of the bad guys' vehicles. It snags on a blanket and yanks the blanket up, revealing a naked couple underneath.
Right. It just I took it out of my 3, 2, 1s. I almost put it in there, but I think there has to be, like in this era of 80s, early 90s, whatever, there's just a lot of Australian cinemas was not making it worldwide, especially the United States. And the ones that did pop up, they feel like they all have this very juvenile sense of humor behind all of it. Like a lot of Peter Jackson's early stuff too was... What was funny was a lot of low-hanging fruit, and this was one of them. The gag with the pirate scope and the binocular, it just feels like they all kind of, there's just this sense of humor at play,
just this kind of playful, silly,
and it's fun. And so same thing, like all of this is going on, and like something catches that blanket. And did it add anything to the movie? Absolutely not. Absolutely nothing. But it was just funny. Like these two were going at it. it's like the apocalypse is going on. You got, this gang, and these people are just, let's just cover up with a blanket and continue, whatever.
Don't mind us, folks.
Right. And then the fact that it's like what they're doing, they're in the middle of the desert under a blanket, and then they act shocked when, don't tell me no one's watched you do this before.
Yeah.
Like,
that's how they get their fuel.
yeah.
So Max gets the rig inside the village. A couple other vehicles make it inside as well. A couple of the bad guys make it, including Wes. Wes is in there.
Oh, yeah.
And Wes is, he's doing his Wes thing. He's going nuts. He's going all like Cirque du Soleil, doing like backflips everywhere. And
he's parkouring his way through the oil refinery.
He's Andy Bernard doing his parkour. Parkour. The warrior woman just cuts the throat of one of the gang members.
Oh yeah.
Papa G takes an arrow to the leg. Wes is doing his best ninja warrior routine through everything.
Yeah, and it's like, I know the 80s were big on ninja movies, which I love ninja movies. It's a soft spot. They're dumb, but man, I love it.
I don't know if this is... Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, but this is just, this is Wes on full display of, I'm not going to run through you. I'm going to triple backflip over you. It's like,
I'm going to do a sow cow.
Right.
I think this was at least the first point in the My movie that I noticed his buttless chaps. I don't know if you saw it earlier or not.
I had noticed earlier when they had stopped the cars that were trying to get away, like in the morning, and then he was there when they were assaulting that woman and shooting the guy, but he had gotten back on his motorcycle, and I noticed his buttless chaps.
Yeah,
I was like,
if you got it, flaunt it.
Why not?
So
I feel bad. It's like I feel bad for Wes's stunt double, the guy who is capable of doing like the double twist backflip thing. Like, before he does it, like, we have to dress you like Wes. Put on this red mohawk over this skull cap, like all of this getup just to do this one scene where your face is not shown. Yeah. And then, okay, thank you.
And you can go now. Here's $20 and a crocodile skin hat.
Yeah. Here's a T-shirt that says "I was in the Road Warrior."
So eventually Wes gets out, and Max takes over one of the flamethrowers from after Papa G took the arrow to the leg. So he's helping the cause, whether he wants to or not, or whether he's just reacting. He ended up helping defend the village, and so the people recognize that. The pilot, the gyrocopter, makes it back. He's still there, folks. He makes it. He makes it into the village, and he's kind of greeted as a hero. He was kind of providing air support for Max. He dropped the snake on one of the guys in the car.
He's throwing snake bombs at people. It's like, I'm just picturing, he's just got this bag full of venomous snakes, and he just drops them at random.
Just a burlap sack full of snakes.
Right, yeah, that's all it is. He just reaches
elbow deep in. And
like, whatever.
Chucking snakes.
He's never bitten. Like,
no.
and everybody's afraid of snakes because, like, he drops it on them and then they freak out and flip their car.
Yeah. Well, wouldn't you, if you're driving
I'm sure
a venomous
I would.
snake just lands in your lap? Oh!
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm sure I would react, but it's like, no matter what these people, the first thing they do is pull the trigger on whatever they've got. Like, they don't take their hands up or smack at it. They go ahead and fire their trident into whatever. Usually the driver of the car they're in.
Yeah. So the pilot lands. He and the feral child have a little antagonistic moment as the feral child is snarling at him. And we see the pilot takes a fancy to a young blonde in the village. He's giving her the old wink wink.
I think she's the aerobics instructor inside this oil refinery.
I think they go back in. They put on some Olivia Newton-John, and
that's right. He's like, "Hey, you want to get physical?" But she's got on a headband and
little side ponytail.
Little side ponytail.
Yep. As you said before, looks very much like Baby Spice.
Oh, very much so. Yeah, Emma, whatever her name is.
Yeah. We get a fun little scene. The village mechanic and his like dim-witted assistant, who looks a lot like Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yes, I thought that too.
Papa G's like, we gotta get like, because this rig took a bullet from Humungus and it's smoking, and we gotta get it fixed up. And it's like, oh, this is broken and this is broken and this is broken. How long will it take you? 24 hours. You got 12. Okay. Just that silly humor. Like okay. Right. He's thrilled to give the answer.
And what cracked me up on that scene was the mechanic, like the mechanic, his crony, and Papagallo are all like within the vicinity, like they're having a conversation, and the mechanic is like, "Well, this is broke," and then the henchman is just repeating everything that he's
like giving his interpretation of it.
Yeah, and it's just acceptable, all right, okay, 12 hours, all right, we got this.
A woman in the village gives Max some shotgun shells as a thank you. Because it turns out Max he's been brandishing this sawed-off shotgun the whole movie, and it's been empty.
Yeah, without shell. Yeah, the whole time. He's been pulling it and using it as a fear, as a weapon of fear, but there's
nothing there.
As a matter of fact, the first 2 shells he gets put in it are duds.
Yeah. Max says it's been a pleasure, but he's leaving. Yeah. He's only there he's there for the gasoline.
May have a gasoline.
Mm-hmm. We get a fun little sequence at dusk there. The marauders are like out of range from the flamethrowers, and they've set up camp on this ridge. And there's this just like pulsing music that's playing.
Oh yeah,
as like you see like Humungus just like rallying his troops, like all sweaty and greased up. And they're
backlit.
And they're torturing the villagers that they had captured earlier who were trying to escape.
Yeah, and you just see the silhouettes of it, like
let's see, that night, the villagers are kind of scurrying about. They've been given 24 hours from Humungus, and they're getting ready to do something. The pilot tries to talk the blonde into leaving with him, but, that's her family. She's with her family. She's got to stay there.
Right.
Max gasses up the pursuit special. Papa G asks Max to drive the tanker, but, he's fulfilled his contract.
Yep.
And they say where they're going. They're going 2,000 miles to the north, to paradise.
Yeah, apparently, they've got a brochure.
Yep. I'm sure it still looks like that.
I bet it does.
Mm-hmm. So Papa G asks Max what he's looking for, and he's kind of poking at Max a little bit here, and it's like, "What about your family?" And that's what it is. And Max slugs Papa G.
Yeah.
So Max is ready to leave, and Feral Child's playing the music. No, it's not going to impact Max. Max is sad right here. He's not Mad Max. He's sad Max.
No, right, sad Max.
Sad Max.
Melancholy Max.
Mm-hmm. It's like the old Homestar Runner, like Strong Bad.
I love Homestar Runner. Strong, sad, Marzipan.
Yeah. We get a little, I don't think I ever noticed this before, and I've seen this movie, probably a couple of dozen times in my life. Papa G's he's talking to another villager. He says, "I'm going to drive the tanker," and he takes out a small little hourglass, a little sand-filled hourglass. He flips over and like, there was a little foreshadowing there.
Yeah, a little bit.
I never noticed that before.
I didn't either.
So Max goes to leave, and he gets chased down. They're using nitrous boosters. They got the captives strapped to the front of their vehicles.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Wes.
I love the reaction whenever they hit the nitro. Like everybody just throws their head back like they've hit ludicrous speed. Like
they've gone to plaid. We can't stop. We have to slow down first. BS.
But that's just kind of the vibe. Like they're all cranking it up, and then they hit the switch, and instead of going like hydraulic front end, like hitting the switches really means, they just and then we just speed up the films.
Wes smashes like a pipe into the pursuit special. Windshield. And they're going like 80, 100 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Max flips it. He can't keep control. He crawls out of the vehicle. One of the marauders kills Max's dog.
Yes. Yeah. Which honestly saved his life. Because he had that crossbow ready for Max, and then dog came up. And of course, by shooting and killing dog off screen, thankfully.
Yeah.
By killing the dog, forced him to reload the next bolt, and while that's going on, the other junkie that was there to kind of drain the fuel, because that's really that's the only thing they were after.
Yeah.
Like, Wes, go get the fuel. Like, we could care less. But while he did that, Max had rigged his own car to be an explosive. Dog saved Max's life with that, jumping up there and taking the bolt, because in that time, it hit ignited the self-destruct and blew everything to smithereens.
Mm-hmm.
Now we got Mad Wes.
Well, and I think Wes thinks Max died in the explosion.
I think so. Yeah, I think so too.
So they didn't bother, combing through for Max because they thought he was gone. Plus, with that car flip that he had too.
Well, and they were quite a ways off the road. Like, Wes didn't go down to the car, but when he sent the two guys down, I mean, it was quite a tumble that car took.
Yeah, it was.
And so it was to be expected. Like, if he survived that, he certainly didn't survive this. So Max is out of the picture.
Yeah, so they
leave.
You
got to go over that double tap, Wes. Got to get that double tap.
So we see Max is kind of drifting in and out of consciousness, and we see the gyrocopter descend, and they rescue him.
Because way back in Gasoline Town, he sees off in the distance. He sees a lot of smoke, pluming, and gets out his nautical telescope so he just goes to check it out because he knows Max is the only one out on the road. Something's going on over there. I'm going to go check it out. So and then like you said, he comes in. I really liked the cinematography on the trip back.
Yeah, that was great. I have that highlighted here as well.
Go ahead.
It's almost like the gyrocopter's point of view, kind of looking at Max as Max's head is almost kind of hanging off the gyrocopter because it's not a big contraption.
No,
he probably had him, laying across his lap, basically.
That's what I was thinking. I was just gonna say probably laying across his lap.
And you see in the ground landscape just passing behind Max's head as Max is again just kind of in and out of consciousness. Really beautiful sequence.
And it's all legit. As they're flying over, you just get the presence. They probably really filmed it that way. Not obviously on a gyrocopter, but from a helicopter point of view of Mel, we want you to lean over the edge, and I mean just because you're seeing everything in the landscape that we've seen, flying underneath until they do come, land in the, in the oil refinery.
So they get him back to the town, and Max is still alive. The next morning, Papa G's going over the final plan with the villagers. He's driving the tankers. He's convinced the marauders will go after him. Max kind of shambles out of wherever they patched him up and says he'll drive it. I got the best chance you got.
Yeah.
He's driving.
It was kind of cute too, because Max is laying there in recovery and bandages or whatever, and Feral Kid is on top of whatever building he's in, and he's just he's dropping his gun bag down, or his gun belt down, and he's dropping his coat, and he's dropping his almost here's your stuff, Max. We need you.
Now's the time.
But yeah, he does. He comes channeling out like he just went 10 rounds with Mike Tyson, his eyes all swollen shut. He is far worse for wear than he needs to be, but the best chance you got.
So they agree. Max is driving. So Humungus at this point has Wes on a chain, literally on a chain, and he loads his gun. He's got that big old Magnum out, and he's loading that thing back up. And Max just plows out of the village. I can't remember if there was a cowcatcher on the rig at first or if they put it on there.
I think they put it on there.
Yeah, and so he's just he tears out of the village. He tears through the encampments of the marauders, and he takes out a couple of their vehicles, some of their tents, and he just rolls right over them and takes off full speed down the road. And after
he's not alone.
Yeah, he's got a couple of people in support as well.
He's got the mechanic and Warrior Woman and somebody else on the rig with him as defenders, and then Papa G's in his own futuristic car, just offering support.
Yeah. The feral child stowed away as well.
Yeah, so unbeknownst to Max.
Yes,
because they caught him. Tried to take him off the rig, and he got loose just as Max was pulling out and jumped back on. So, but these guys, this small crew heads south.
Yeah.
And then what were you going to say?
I was just saying, as Max is going in one direction, a few moments after he leaves, and, most of the marauders chase after him, the rest of the villagers pull out in this bus and a handful of other vehicles, and they go in the other way. So they kind of sneak out. A couple of the marauders see, hey, nobody's guarding the refinery. Let's get in there and claim this thing. So they get in, they congratulate themselves, and you cut to a close-up of a burn wire sizzling down.
There's a fuse going.
Mm-hmm. And the whole village just goes up. That had to be a huge explosion they rigged up.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Because, it wasn't a miniature. You could tell by looking at it.
They really blew something up.
Yeah. They didn't build a miniature. It looks like they blew up this oil refinery.
They probably actually built something that was 3 times the size of the refinery.
It started as just that oil derrick.
Yeah.
And they built everything around it just to blow it up.
Yep. Instead of a miniature, it's a maximature.
Yeah, but they put a fire blanket over that derrick so that after everything blew up, that the derrick would still be there to be utilized. And it's utilized to this day.
Uh-huh. It's a tourist attraction.
Yeah, it's a big Mad Max 2 Road Warrior tourist attraction. You can go check out the oil derrick. You can climb through the path and maze of tunnels
through the prairie dog holes.
Right. You can go tie yourself for a photo op to the driftwood up on the cliff. All kinds of amazing things.
You go have sex under a blanket and they'll yank it off.
There's a sex blanket over there. Just get the full experience.
Just when you forget where you're at, they just pull it right off.
Over there, there's the conjugal area.
and then it's like on the roller coaster how they have the camera rig to take your picture. They have a camera set just as the blanket gets pulled off. And they make you exit through the gift shop, and that's where they get you to buy the picture.
Just make sure you show them your O face. Oh
no!
So, ladies and gentlemen, hit the Outback for your real Road Warrior experience.
It's authentic, folks. It really is.
Right? They've got one roller coaster, and it's nothing but corkscrews.
From the Australian Tourist Bureau.
Right.
Oh, Mike! For the second straight week, my glasses are fogging up. So we're back on the road here. The village is blown up. The villagers, most of them are escaping. And let's see. The gyrocopters flying overhead. He's dropping Molotov cocktails. So there's this little 5-6 person force.
It's like he ran out of snakes. I guess I'll have to try Gozalane.
Maybe they're explosive snakes. He just lit them on fire.
It may have been, yeah.
He made the snake swallow a condom full of fuel. Right. He just lit the snake on fire.
It wasn't a rag in a bottle. It was just a snake shoved into a bottle. He lit his tail and chucked it.
Sometimes I think that we should name our episodes, and it should be just some random dumb quote, or not even a quote, but something dumb we say during the episode. I think
why not?
Elbow deep in a bag of snakes is this week's name.
Right.
So there's a couple of dozen vehicles chasing after the rig that Max is driving, and he's got his little crew there helping him out. Let's see. Humungus cuts Wes's chains, and Wes eventually gets close, and he's leaping from vehicle to vehicle. Great score during this also.
Oh yeah. Really ramps up the tension.
Oh god. And just the way it's edited, and they crank up the film run sometimes, and it's just it's so great. They're using grappling hooks to pull pieces off the tanker. They pull the door off by Max. The first of the good guys they take out, he's on this little kind of rig on the back of the tanker, and they get a grappling hook, and it pins the guy's leg against it.
Yeah. That was awful.
Yeah. And he just gets yanked down off this tanker that's going probably close to 100 miles an hour.
Well, because at first when the grappling hook grabs him and pins his leg, then the car like flips, and so now the tanker's dragging the car behind it until the integrity of that little balcony thing gives way. So it's like, the full weight of this car being drugged by the tanker is not only pulling against the tanker, but it's pulling against this guy's leg. It's it hurt just watching that.
Owie, owie, owie!
Stop!
It's a Charlie horse right there.
And I'm sitting there with my slippers on under a blanket. Stop it! It hurts.
You have the force of a whole car pulled on your leg.
I know.
Ugh.
To the point, like I said, that it rips that little balcony piece off, and then, now you're part of the road.
Yep. He was gone after that.
He drew the short straw on that trip.
Yeah, that wasn't a good spot to be in. Warrior Woman is up on top of this rig with a crossbow in each hand, just looking super cool.
Which would be tough to reload, you would think.
Yeah. And then eventually she takes several arrows from a nearby car that's got like a pneumatic arrow gun on there. And she's gone. The mechanic is on top throwing Molotov cocktails. He accidentally lights himself on fire. He's trying to help the now dead Warrior Woman, and he gets yanked off completely, like at full speed.
Yeah.
Then we get an iconic shot of Max, kind of stepping out of the rig with his shotgun.
Oh yeah,
and
this is
blast some guy in the face.
Yeah, this is the back of the Blu-ray kind of shot here of.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Delights the feral child as well, because you get the impression he's never seen a gun go off.
Just a lot of grunts and.
Yeah. We get another stunt that, like one of those moments, like the shots that this movie is known for, of like a motorcycle crashes, and like the driver does like 4 flips over while he's in the air. Oh.
Did you read in the trivia that was not supposed to happen?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they in filming it, like he was supposed to just clear the car when he made the crash. He's supposed to fly off the motorcycle, clear the car, but like his leg caught the car, and so these somersaults
just
are like
tumbling. Yeah.
Oh, it's awful looking. Like you felt so bad for him. Like broke both his legs or whatever. He survived and eventually was fine. But
yeah, they
George
kept
Miller's
it in though. We're not wasting
George
that
Miller's
shot.
Well, no, we couldn't have gotten a better one if we tried. So guess what? Guess what, Georgie? Your shot's in the movie.
So there's cars just crashing left and right. Some guy with like a clawed glove gets a hold of Max and just kind of claws him across the shoulder. Wes is standing on top of the cab with like a ball and chain.
Yeah, it's
like a mace or something,
like a morning star of some sort that just go. Yeah, he hates windows, mate. Wes does. He hates windshields.
Oh God, I got a movie reference in my head, and I'm trying to place it right now. Something about he hates glass. Is it?
What's it
from?
It's from The Jerk with Steve Martin.
Yeah,
he hates these cans.
Yeah, that's right. He hates these cans.
Stay away from the cans.
He hates.
Oh, I mean that's probably one of my top 5 favorite movies too. These cans are defective. You got E. Emmett Walsh across the way because he pulled his name out of the phone book. Prior to that, because Steve Martin, he moves out and he convinces his boss to let him live at the gas station, so he lets him have the back closet. And so then he files because now he has an address, so his name just happens to get in the phone book. So he's celebrating because the phone book is here. I'm finally a somebody. Cut to E. Emmett Walsh, who's just pulling a random name out of the phone book that he's going to go murder. and it's him. And so so he's yelled from across the street, "Guy, die, gas pumper!" And he's just shooting up cans. He tries to hide behind a Coke machine, and of course he's like, "There's cans in here!" But that's Wes's hatred for for windshields is Steve Martin's reaction to getting shot at. He hates these cans. Stay away from the cans. Oh, I love that movie.
Papagayo pulls up beside Max, and he's trying to get the feral child to jump to him, and he doesn't.
Oh, right, yeah.
And Humungus has this gigantic, like 3-pronged, like throwing spike.
Right, yeah. It's incredibly, like, it just looks heavy.
Yeah.
Like,
and he just whips it like he's throwing a frisbee.
right.
And it nails Papagayo in the back, and he's gone. He just slumps over. He's dead.
Yeah. Geometrically, it should not have happened, but whatever.
Yeah, it looked cool.
Like, he's chucking it. I'm like, your trajectory was spot on. Like, you're Dante.
Perfect.
You're Dante Culpepper dropping bombs to Randy Moss with that kind of accuracy.
So, Max is taking out a couple more guys with a shotgun. The shells have now fallen onto the hood of the rig.
Right.
And Max is
and stay there somehow, but
yeah.
Whatever.
He had also hit the brakes at one point, and Wes kind of fell from the top of the rig.
Yeah.
And you think that he fell in front of the car or in front of the rig. So
we don't see it.
So the kid's out there trying to get the shells, and
scared. Like, feral kid is terrified. Because Max is like, go get the shells, go get it, and he's just like, I don't want to do this.
Okay. And so he's crawling out on the hood as they're going, how fast they are. And another one of those little fun moments where, like, he's reaching slowly for the shells, and then Wes pops up and it just screams bloody murder. And the feral child screams back, and the camera's right there in each of their faces.
Yeah.
In the meantime, Max has turned the rig 180 degrees around, and Humungus, who had kind of lost course a little bit, is still coming at him, and he's trying to catch up. So he'd
switched vehicles because he was going to throw another one of those like super tridents at Max, and somehow it got like the car. Like his vehicle, because Humungus was going to throw one of those tridents, and that was when Gyrocopter flew over and dropped a cocktail on it, like basically blew up the back of his car.
That's right.
So he had to take a detour. But yeah, he switched vehicles, and now back to what you were saying.
Yeah, so Max had put a little bit of distance between himself and Humungus, and in the meantime, Max had turned 180 degrees. He turns the whole rig around and just starts heading back the way he came. And Humungus didn't know what was going on. And so he's kind of readjusted, and he puts those nitrous boosters on. And so he doesn't know it, but he's driving straight oncoming at the rig. And we got the climactic sequence here where Humungus, his head's pinned against the back seat because he's going so fast, and he drives straight into the rig, technically straight into Wes first.
Right, yeah. Wes is playing lightning bug in this scenario.
Yeah.
He's the first thing Humungus runs into.
And so, they collide full speed. And the Humungus he's gone. His vehicle's obliterated.
Yeah, he and Wes both are just destroyed.
They're just gone, yeah. The rig takes a tumble, falls over, cuts to Max hauling an unconscious feral child out of the wreckage. He's just got him slung under his arm like a potato sack.
Exactly. That's about the analogy I was going to use too.
Yeah.
Just simple.
Yeah, but like the tanker is knocked over, and Max goes to take a closer look, and it's not fuel pouring out of the tanker, Oz. It's sand.
Where'd they get the sand?
Well, they're in a desert.
I'm kidding. I know where they got the sand.
They went to the beach. He emptied that little hourglass in there. It was almost full. It just needed to top it off.
Right. That's all that he couldn't fit in was whatever was left in that hourglass. Started much larger.
Yeah. He'd actually just been using the hourglass to fill it.
He's been using Warrior Woman and Feral Child to collect sand in their hair.
And then just shake it out.
Then shaking it into this tanker.
So yeah, the whole thing had just been a big distraction. Now I don't. Maybe there's an answer to this, and maybe I missed it. Did Max know about the sand?
I don't think he knew. I don't think he knew.
My guess is no, but I don't know if it's ever explicitly revealed.
Yeah, I don't think it's explicitly revealed, but by the way that he looked at it and then held his hand under it, and I think he just realized he'd been had a little bit, but still, he's still a man of justice. Like, the the bad doesn't need to win. Yes, because he volunteered for everything there. Like, they were willing to drive the rig, and Papa G was going to sacrifice, and whatever, everything that would have happened anyway. But I don't think Max was aware that it was full of sand, and I don't think it matters because of all the lives lost by the village people, not the 70s,
not the band. Yeah.
right. I don't want any listeners to be like, the village people were in this movie? Yes, they were part of the Marauders.
Yes.
Anyway.
I mean, in the village people, there was a motorcycle guy.
Yeah, there was an S&M guy in the village people. But yeah, I don't think Max knew. I think that he realized that this plan was going to happen, and he just happened to be, a piece of it. But no, the way that he looked at it almost had a look on his face of like, I get it.
Yeah.
And
I respect it. Yeah.
Good. Yeah. Good for you guys.
Yeah.
That, because they all sacrificed themselves for it too. It wasn't just Max on the rig by himself.
Well, and in the end here, Max finds some fulfillment, some redemption. He's a hero again.
Yeah,
because Papa G even called him at one point. Like, he basically said, "You're as bad as they are. You're desert garbage.
You're trash. Yeah. You're like they are."
So we get an epilogue sequence. The voiceover narration comes back, and it turns out that the person who'd been doing the voiceover was a grown feral child. He says the Gyrocopter captain ended up becoming our chief, and now I'm chief, and we're the leader of the great northern tribe. And as he's talking, you kind of see They show like the last images of the villagers leaving, and on their bus and in their vehicles they have big drums of fuel.
Yeah.
So they're able to make it. They're able to self-sustain, and they never saw the Road Warrior again. Roll credits, and that's 1981's Mad Max 2: The Road Warrior. So at this point in the show, folks, Oz and I give our own unique rating to the film we've been watching, in this case, Mad Max 2, The Road Warrior. Oz, how would you rate this flick?
8 snake bombs.
8 snake bombs.
8 snake bombs.
That's high praise. I'm gonna go with 4 boomerang severed fingers.
That works too. 7 feral child grunts. Which really, the feral child didn't have many less lines than Max did. So.
Yeah. And just about as articulate too.
Yeah. Somehow the script was still like 90 pages long, but only with like 7 pages of dialogue.
Yeah. Not a lot of talking in this one.
4 of which were Lord Humungus. So.
So we got the 3, 2, 1s at this point in the show, folks. Roz and I each share 3 goods, 2 bads, and 1 about the movie we've been watching. In this case, 1981's George Miller directed Mad Max 2: The Road Warrior. Oz, what are your 3 goods?
My first one, I really like that they didn't reveal when this took place. If you were watching this as a continuation of Mad Max, we talked about it last week, of course, that was the budding of said apocalypse. We're there now.
Yeah.
But I like how we don't know when. We don't know how long they've been this way. We just know things are bad. But they're still not... It's not far enough in the future that they still have gasoline. They still have vehicles. Mm-hmm. They still have sporting goods stores because they had to raid them for all their wardrobes. Yep. But I like not knowing that we know that this is further into the future. We just don't know how much further.
Yeah, it's still vague enough for you to kind of put things together yourself.
And that Mel Gibson is still playing the role. Like, he doesn't look much older. Which it just shows that like things have gone downhill in a hurry. Mm-hmm. And so, because you're still going to be driven by grief because you lose your family. It's going to suck forever. But this is still, I think, recent enough that it's still like it's his bag. It's his weight. Like, he still lives in that melancholiness. So that's my first good. My second one, I love the celebrity lookalikes in this movie. We've got Jason Voorhees, we got Mick Jagger, we got Baby Spice. we got, like Tanya Roberts with Warrior Woman. The Toady reminded me of the actor that played Aram Zola in
Yeah, Toby Jones. Yep, I totally see it.
Yeah, it reminds me of Toby Jones.
I totally see it.
And everybody else is just like the biker gang from Weird Science. Like, it's just everybody's a celebrity. It just feels like everybody's a celebrity lookalike in this movie.
Max reminds me of that guy from Bird on a Wire.
Exactly. Yeah. Or I was thinking the guy from Lethal Weapon 4. But either way, I think they may be the same guy.
Kind of looks like the guy from What Women Want.
What Women Want, yeah. Oh, Mel Gibson, you've fallen so far.
Oh, yeah.
But no, I do. The celebrity lookalikes cracked me up in this. And then the third, just the simplicity at its finest.
Yeah.
The good guys are all in white. The bad guys are all in black. The story is very straightforward. Like I said, I told my 7-year-old it's about a guy who needs gas for his car. And that's really what the movie's about.
You're not wrong.
He just keeps saying it over and over. Here for the gasoline. Like, it's
low on petrol.
There's, minimal dialogue. The stunts are real. Like, you don't see, these are legit stunts. You don't see safety nets. You don't see harnesses. This is, we're going to pull up here and you're going to jump onto that rig. Mm-hmm. Okay. It's the reaction to being told that is the reaction of the flunky being told he has 12 hours instead of 24 to fix the rig.
Okay.
And so, those are my three goods. I just think it's just nothing gets in the way in this movie. It's just fun. How about you?
The first of my goods, I love Humungus' hype man, the Toby Jones lookalike.
Yeah.
Again, it's such a minimal role, but it's fun, and it shows just how dominant Humungus is, that he has this old man whose sole purpose is there to be this literal and figurative toady. Who's just there to get on the PA to announce him. It's like his ring valet.
Oh yeah.
Who's coming there with him and occasionally like throws him a chair to bash over the other guy's head.
Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say he's like a wrestling manager. It's like Howard Finkel and the Slickster rolled into one.
Bobby the Brain Heenan is his hype man.
Yeah.
So my second good is I love the variety of vehicles in this movie, and just kind of what they did to them. And again, I'm the furthest thing there is from a gearhead, but I just so appreciate how like the vehicles have their own almost like personality in this movie. Whether it's the beat up pursuit special or the gyrocopter or this rig they turned into a war machine
or the pink Ford Fairlane with the driver who's got pink hair. Like, it's like there's nothing menacing about that vehicle at all, but it's there. Like,
yeah. So yeah, I love that. And then just stating the obvious, my third good, just the last 20 minutes of the movie is just it's a sprint, and it's so awesome. Just one of the best action sequences I think in cinema history is basically the last 20 minutes of this movie. Just this elongated car chase in the middle of the outback, as they try to take this rig down, and this small band of heroes stands up to the bad guys.
Right. Well, and I think you can't help, and I talked about it a little bit pre-show, and it's a little bit of a preview of things to come probably, but it's like there's so much in this movie that is still there in Fury Road. Mm-hmm. Like, even not necessarily the plot line, but even just some of the action choices of the pursuit, the turning around, all of that stuff. I mean, so much of it there, but it's like with Fury Road, it's like, hey George, it's been a while. How about even more money plus some special effects? It's almost like George Miller was a little ahead of his time.
Yeah.
He's very, I feel in some ways like he's very like Robert Rodriguez-esque, and that I know what I want to do and I'm going to accomplish it the best that I can with the budget that I have.
Yeah.
But if you give me more, I can make it better. And so Mad Max was good, Road Warrior's better. And then we've talked about our mutual love for Fury Road on top of all that. And so it's like, he's kind of a one-man show. He writes, he directs. I think he edited this as well. I'd read in the trivia that like I think he was editing it with the sound off because he wanted to cut it by the action and not not the sounds necessarily. And so You just kind of love that, just kind of all-inclusive, kind of guerrilla indie filmmaker-esque that has been given a chance.
Yeah, so those are my 3 goods. Oz, what are your 2 bads?
My first bad is that Max's dogs just don't have a very long lifespan. Mad Max, they stop along their trip to pick up a dog, and that dog doesn't make it. This is a new dog, and really the events of this movie, who knows how long that dog's been with Max, but the events of this movie take place really just over a couple of days.
Yeah.
And this dog doesn't make it, and you're like, oh man, they just keep putting down Max's dogs. And my first, I actually put that bad in there as we were talking, because my first bad originally was how little the oil refinery people could actually defend. Like, it just wasn't believable that this ragtag group could really defend themselves against Lord Humungus's crew for as long as they have. But I got rid of it because I'm like, you know what? They probably could. Like, with the flamethrowers and all that other jazz, like, you get the vibe too that like Humungus just recently discovered this refinery as well.
Yeah.
I think that had he known about it longer, they would have taken it over. But just didn't have the chance. So I changed that one to the lifespan of Max's dogs. If you're a dog of Max's, your days are numbered. And then the second is, I wasn't a huge fan of the feral child. It was fine because it's the apocalypse. But more to conclude that this kid is surrounded. I understand that education is likely non-existent, but this kid is surrounded by a community and everybody's communicating and speaking. It's like, I just didn't understand why this child had no communication skills outside of grunts. I mean, I'm under the impression that he was not part of the community originally, that they, he somehow came across them much like Max has, but still, like, nothing. You've built a bond with these people. You're obviously on their side. You've been there long enough to dig these tunnels. But yet you don't speak a single word, and then you're given the the prologue and the in the intro, as well. So that was really my second bad. Was like I couldn't get on board with the feral child. I thought the relationship he built with Max was fine, but it's like just the grunts and moans, and I'm like, this poor kid. He could catch a boomerang though. He had a mean boomerang glove.
Yeah, he did. It's like chainmail glove.
Yeah. So those are my 2 bads. The dog and then the feral child.
Sure.
The dog arguably had more personality than the
child. Let's see. My first bad, the beginning and end narration, it's not awful, but it's not completely necessary. Like, it didn't really do anything to the story. It kind of made things a little cooler. It's like, oh, okay, that's cool, but like it didn't do anything to the story.
It makes Max more like mythological.
Yeah. So it builds the film, but it doesn't push the story, I guess, in that way. My other one that I had down was the dog as well. So my other bad is, I don't know, why didn't he share any dog food earlier in the film with the gyrocopter pilot?
Right. The guy was nice to him.
Yeah, he was. He let him use his telescope.
and one problem I have with movies that have like an intro and a conclusion, like dialogue, a little bit is, then you shouldn't be able to tell us any part of the story where you were not present. If you're telling us the tale of Max, then the feral child should not have been able to tell us anything that happened to Max prior to him getting to the oil refinery. Because why would you know that? Max didn't tell you, So coming across the gyrocopter and the snake and the dog food, like, granted, it's fine for the movie, but by giving us that preview, I'm gonna draw a very thin similarity, like the Wonder Years. Like, Kevin Arnold is giving the overview of the Wonder Years, but everything that happens in that show, like, he's present for. So it all kind of makes sense because he's telling his history. But when you're telling somebody else's chain of events and then adding things that you were not present for, it just makes it a little flimsy.
Sure. Yeah,
but
so
that's just neither here nor there. But
yeah, I get that. No, that makes sense. So I guess my other bad is he didn't share the dog food. I didn't really think that one out. I didn't think that one out very well.
That was like dinky doo dog food,
Something like that.
real meat and veggies.
Oz, what's your
I had two of them, but I'm gonna go with this one. How long was the Gyrocopter underground waiting for somebody to come?
Yeah, I was thinking about putting that one down as well. Like,
because I mean, it was a cool scene. Max shows up, it's there, the snake. He grabs the snake, and then aha, But my first thought was like, how long have you been laying there? Like, you didn't just finish covering yourself up when you heard the interceptor coming. Like, how long have you been there?
And he's like hurriedly, like with one arm scooping sand out of himself.
He's almost done as he's coming over the ridge, and he just gets it finished. And so that was the one I chose. With was like, man, and there was no like breathing tube or he's just
there's no like
holding his breath,
McDonald's straw sticking up.
Right, he's just holding his breath. He probably hollowed out one of his snakes and was using that as
hollowed snake.
What's your
My actually takes one of your bads a step further, and it's who eventually tamed and educated the feral child.
Right,
because by the end narration, like, he's now articulate, and he's the leader of what you can assume are probably at least hundreds of people. Describes it as the tribe. So, like he went from being in a community where no one bothered to help him out to now he's scholarly and this leader among people. So, okay. Apparently the people in that village weren't capable of doing it. Maybe when they got 2,000 miles away, somebody on the north end of Australia was a better teacher.
Right. Probably. My guess, too, is, I guess, another but we could probably answer this one. Is the Gyrocopter captain responsible for getting he and the feral child back to where they were going?
I thought about that, too. Like, did they just, did the school bus just stop for a while?
Yeah. Or? Did they go back and check it out? Like, because they showed him both on the bus. So it's like, my guess is but we saw the Gyrocopter crash. He got shot out of the air and crashed. Well, I'm fine with him.
I think at the end he drove the gyro, so it still worked on wheels.
He must, but well, look how many cars of wrecked cars are laying around. He may have just grabbed the kid and taken one of those. Matt, who knows? But it's just like, how did he get there? My other one of my original Huns was, was there a Dick's Sporting Goods that they invaded prior to this movie to get all of their? Because everybody's wearing sporting goods equipment.
I think it's probably Sports Authority.
Probably, yeah. It's got, it's just like, where'd you guys get all your stuff?
Well,
but that's,
and as not to, in addition to the sporting goods, just the clothes. But was there like a leather emporium that they that they went and found?
Yeah, the good guys hit Sports Authority, and the bad guys hit the Blue Oyster Bar from the Police Academy movies.
One of the guys in the Marauders was a tanner, so he knew how to turn things into leather.
They just didn't bring him with.
Yeah. Well,
he was like. He was like in the Daredevil Netflix show, where they actually showed the guy making the costumes. Yeah. That was his job.
He's just back there. You stay here. You stay hidden because you're clearly you have the most important skill set of anyone in our group.
We need you. You stay here and keep tanning that leather.
You make us look cool.
Only cover the parts that need covered.
And leave the bits that need air out.
Right. I did read in the trivia that, and you probably saw it too, that it was really cold on the set.
Yeah.
All the time, and that Mel Gibson referred to Vernon Wells' butt as barometer buns, because they all knew that like when his butt cheeks turned purple, that it was too cold to be filming, and so they would break for a while. And I'm like, whatever. But yeah, you've got to have a very high level of self-confidence to take on a role in Lord Humungus' gang.
That's right, because you're leaving it all out there.
Yeah, and we don't know if it's Arnold Schwarzenegger or not. I know it's not, obviously, but it just thinks like first thing out of Schwarzenegger's mouth on the Terminator when he comes across the street punks is like, "Give me your clothes."
So even he gets it.
Yeah, this is Humungus' first line to anybody who wanted to join the gang. "Give me your clothes." Okay, and then he rips the legs off and just hands them back the crotch. "You can wear this."
He has a pair of safety scissors and he just cuts the butt cheeks out. You're not gonna need those.
No, we're gonna need this for something else.
Well, folks, that was 1981's Mad Max 2: The Road Warrior. Oz, what do we got in store next week?
Next week we're watching Mad Max 3. Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. That's not the full title. It's not Mad Max 3, Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. That's quite the mouthful. Starring Mel Gibson and Tina Turner. I've never seen this movie. You said it's been how long?
It's been probably at least 25 years since I've seen it.
So there's a good chance it's going to feel like a new movie to you. I'm very interested because I know there seems to be a lot more money. And this, my guess is, the first two movies of the Mad Max quadrilogy have been Australian-based films with the crew, etc., etc. I'm guessing this is probably like a Hollywood studio Mad Max movie. So I don't know, but I really doubt it's going to satisfy me as well as the first two have. I'm going in open-minded, of course, because I believe George Miller still made this one. But I'm very curious to see what Miss Tina Turner adds to
the mix. Yep.
Yeah, 1985, directed by George Miller, written by George Miller. After being exiled from the most advanced town in post-apocalyptic Australia, a drifter travels with a gang of abandoned children to rebel against the town's queen. Okay, fair enough. It's a 6.2 rating on IMDb, and so maybe it'll be fine. I mean, I don't have lowered expectations by any means, but I just feel this is probably the most Hollywood of the four. And so I'm very curious to see how I feel when we talk about this next week.
All right. What other things we got for our listeners, Az?
Oh, the usual social media. You could catch us: Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can, we'd love to hear from you. You could find links to all those down below. You can also, again, like I mentioned earlier, hit us up on Patreon if you feel like we're worthy of a few dollars a month. If not, you could still listen to us anyway. We're not charging admission to our podcast anytime soon. But other than that, you can find us on YouTube, your favorite podcast apps, etc. I did see that coming soon, Facebook will be dropping podcast listening because some people you can actually listen to the podcast through Facebook, and they're taking that feature away. Why? I don't know, but they are. But that's okay. So if you do listen to us on Facebook and you want to continue listening to us, hop on to a podcast app, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher. You can go to our website, which you'll also see the link down below, and you can see all the various podcast apps that you could catch us on. So, appreciate you listening to us, and we will be back next week for Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. So you got anything you want to send us out with, Curtis?
No, I'm just already looking forward to next week.
All right. Well, thanks for coming and listening, guys, and we will see you next week. Take care.